Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Doctor Who Season 11, Episode 3. It's called Rosa. So, full spoilers for the episode, as always. So,
Get what it says on the tin in this one with the episode titling.
yeah. Well, no, I was expecting Rosa from Brooklyn Nine-Nine at first.
Okay.
All I could hear was the Pontiac Bandit singing Rosa. Rosa, Rosa.
Okay. Did you watch the next time on last week when it told you that this was going to be it?
No, I haven't watched this
Okay.
week's either.
Okay, this is the one show I happen to watch the next time on.
No. I saw the title and that's just what popped into my head because that's the most common Rosa in my
Experience.
vantage right now.
Yes.
No, I wouldn't say experience, just right now. Like there's no other Roses
Okay.
around.
Yeah, that's fair.
So anyway, so yeah, Rosa Parks. We were dealing with 50s. We're dealing with Alabama, and the first thing I was going to say is, and I tweeted this out as well. I could almost feel the cries of bigots across the world crying out because Doctor Who was doing something political with an episode. I could hear it howling
It does one every so often.
across the moors. This is the most political it's been from what I can remember in a while.
I don't know. We had with Capaldi, we had the Zygon immigration invasion thing. That was pretty political. This was just it wasn't dressing it. Where
okay. Well, I would say what I mean then is that like you say, that was dressing it up in sci-fi. This was not. I mean, all in the fact that it was time travel to get us to the actual time and place. This was just history.
It was
with a bit of Back to the Future. We need to make sure it happens. Plot.
Yeah. The Zygon one was where they were the body snatchers, and they were kind of taking over people.
Yeah, I think what I appreciate about this is because one of the things that I remember liking early last season of Doctor Who, it wasn't a great episode. It was the one with when they're in London, it was like the frozen water. The Thames was frozen.
Oh yeah.
And there was the racist bad guy, right? And he came out, and obviously because we had oh god, Bill.
Yeah.
Right, because we had Bill, the question I had immediately was like, okay, we're going to actually deal with the fact that there's a black character and time travel going back, and it's something we deal with in time travel every so often, right? And I remember being impressed that towards the end of the episode, the villain came out and just immediately said something racist, and that was pretty much it. But it was impressive at the time.
It was notable for Doctor Who because obviously, even in New Who, we had Martha, for example.
Exactly, yeah.
And we did plenty of stuff in the past, and they just did perception.
And
they don't notice.
Rosie's boyfriend as well was with them for a while as well.
Yeah, Mickey.
Yeah. So, but they kind of sidestepped it a little bit just because it's a fun light show. We're not going to necessarily tackle these things, and that was surprising last year. I respected it for doing that last year. Whereas, not even 5 minutes, they're not even off the TARDIS like a minute, and Ryan gets slapped by a racist in Alabama. And I went, okay, we're doing this. We're not even going to sugarcoat this.
Properly,
we're just going to do it. And I was like, okay, you know what? I kind of respect this. And I think this is easily the most interesting of the episodes so far this season.
I agree. And I'm enjoying all of them. But yeah, I thought this was pretty fantastic.
And I love my sci-fi adventures. I love that. But Joe, what I liked about this one, there was no bullshit thing we had to explain towards the end. Like I said, this was Back to the Future style where we just have to make sure history happens as it was supposed to. And they're trying to just manipulate things so that the right bus driver's on the bus, the right amount of people are on the bus, the bus is functioning because there's a time traveling villain who's trying to alter history.
Who's
of course,
a white supremacist from the future.
From the future, yes, but he's got a chip in his head like Spike from the Initiative in the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I knew this was coming as soon as it happened.
Hey, come on! You can't blame me for this. This is the same thing. This is the chip. This is Spike's chip from Buffy.
It is.
It's that exact thing. It's the plot of Back to the Future. Well, kind of. It's the same mechanics as Back to the Future. And it's the Spike chip from Buffy. That's what this is.
Yeah.
So,
but better than either of those.
Yes. Honestly, my only real complaints about the episode is I thought the villain's acting was a bit
a little hammy.
Bit hammy, but especially for an episode that were dealing with this.
Yeah, I'm not going to dispute that. It was a bit hammy.
He's a bit hammy, and I do think some of the American accents were a little bit iffy here or there.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, Rosa herself was fine, and she is an English actress. I was checking. I was curious.
How were you? Okay.
After, but some of those, but the one that really stuck out to me Now, to be fair, the villain stuck out to me as well, but then it turned out he actually had an English accent anyway. So I guess in context of the show, he was putting on...
just attempting to
Yes.
put on an accent, yeah.
But the waitress who kicks them out of the bar early on,
Yeah. Okay.
she really stuck out, and she was in the cast. I was like, I'm just double checking, but I'm sure she's English. And then sure enough, she was.
Yeah.
And I get it. You're doing bit parts. You're shooting it in Wales, whatever. But it was sticking out here or there. Some of the accents, but that's pretty much the extent of my complaints, because it had its sweet moments, it had its tense moments, it had its obviously very bittersweet moments. The highlight, I think, being when they realise that to keep the numbers on the bus up, they have to be there.
Part of it.
They have to be passengers. Yeah.
I love that it's after Graham stands up to let the other, because he thinks they're getting off, so the other two that are getting on sit down.
So he's the one who needs a seat. Yeah.
He's the one that causes it to happen, and he's just there going, God damn it, I didn't want to be part of this.
Yeah, and there's a great shot at one point of the doctor, because she's sitting in the seat right in front. It's just her like sitting there having to hold back and not intervene, because that's the other thing. She says, no matter what, we can't help her, we can't intervene, it has to happen the way it happened. And is this really kind of bittersweet, and obviously it gets a little bit uplifting after she does it, because it's like, okay, right, history's in its place and things will go from here. But it's really it's not even, what's the worst? Not even. I mean, it's a little bit tense, because I think we know she's going to do it. They're going to fix it. It's fine. Yeah. But so it's not tense per se, but there's an anticipation. There's a sadness to it, right?
There is. It's the fact that even if it works, it's still like it's better. But it's as they go on all episode, things are better, but they're not good. They're not ideal.
Yeah, because Ryan obviously is quite down about it, and Yaz kind of tries to. Because I really liked how Yaz was confused. Like, she didn't know if she was supposed to sit in the back or the front. Like, where does she count in this? And the fact that they kept calling her Mexican, because people from Alabama,
the closest that they could get.
Yeah, they don't know what Pakistani is apparently in 1955. Yeah. And 55, funnily enough, since we're making Back to the Future comparisons, 1955 is the year in Back to the Future that he goes back to. Just.
Oh, yeah.
So, I don't know if that was. It's not intentional, obviously, because they're basing it on a historical thing, but
yeah,
nice touch.
Just a fun coincidence,
yeah.
Right?
But yeah, the day wasn't even that far off, because in Back to the Future it's November. It's November 5th, I think, 1955.
So they're like a week off.
Yeah. No, it was the start of December.
No,
I said,
this is the end of November. Yeah.
So it was like 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah. In my mind, we were end of October, but I got there.
No, it's end of October in real life right now.
That's why I got confused. It's close enough.
Nah. So it's a very tense episode. Any time a character, one of the the Alabama characters was telling Ryan off, or telling him what to do, or giving him cheek in some way, and cheek's putting it very lightly, it always kind of stung. It was always this kind of stinging feeling. And I kind of liked where he couldn't quite name exactly what she did at first, and they all kind of chastise her for it. And I like how Graham's like, your Nam would kill you right now. She would kill you for this. He's like, yeah, but she's American, and he kind of tries to justify it a little bit. But that felt very true. It felt very true that not all of them happened to know just off the top of their heads why this was important. Like, one of them had to he vaguely remembered. He remembered buses were involved. Which, by the way, are we going to somehow fit buses into every single plot? So Graham is relevant with his expertise.
Do you know what? The one thing that shocked me about this episode that they didn't do.
Yeah, have him drive the bus.
Yeah, I thought he was going to have to pretend to be,
I thought it might go there. I was thinking that at one point. I'm kind of glad it didn't, though, because that would have been especially awkward if he had to actually play out the scene. If he had to go up and shout at her. Yeah,
it would have been. But I thought that's where it might have gone, and I've been okay with that.
Because it was kind of stomach crunching enough just to have them have to not do anything, especially with him being the one standing. That was enough to make it give it the weight that it kind of needed there. So yeah. Also, I loved it when Yaz points out in 50 years or 53 years specifically, they'll have a black president. She neglects to mention the president that comes after.
Well, that's why she goes straight to, and who knows where we'll be 50 years after that.
Yeah. 8 years later, not so hot, but
it's a gradient. There are anomalies.
So so it was both like obviously it was hard hitting where it needed to be. It was hopeful and inspirational where in other places where it needed to be. And yeah, I mean, I have very little to say negatively, and I think even the mechanics of the Back to the Future plot are really fun mechanics, trying to like make sure all these pieces fall into place, because it doesn't sound like it should be that hard to make sure a bus is full, but it kind of is if the people have already walked away from the bus stop.
And as much as the villain, some hammy acting,
he's the worst part of it for sure.
No, yeah, but I really like him in principle, in theory of everything that he's actually doing, and all the ideas of this guy coming back trying prevent this change, and it's one of the darker things that he's doing to sabotage it.
It's one of the darker motivations we've had, I think, for a Doctor Who villain.
Yeah, it is.
It feels really sadistic, and because he can't just kill people and he has to just manipulate events a little bit.
It is clever, like like the Doctor says at one point. She's like, "Oh, he's clever. He knows what he's doing." And
Ryan blasts him back to the furthest point on the device, this time travel device.
Means we might see him again.
I kind of hope we do, not because he was actually good, but just because if he creates more situations like this where he's altering history and they have to fix it, I'm actually down for more episodes like this in completely different time periods.
Yeah, I am too.
I mean, what if like one of them has to be a bad thing though? What if they have to make sure a bad guy gets to do something?
Just because it's something that has to happen.
Yeah, because it'll have a domino effect. I mean, sure. See, as the example everyone would use, it'd be great to go back and kill Hitler before he does everything, but that could lead to something even worse potentially.
Yeah, it's okay if you don't. What happens instead?
Exactly. Oh.
Yeah. So it's one of those things, but I do realize something that I know it was really taken to heart is one of the earliest points of Doctor Who was to educate as well as entertain. Oh, yeah. And he's definitely ran with that. Especially at the end of this episode where you have like the little the footage from her getting the medal.
Yeah, from Clinton. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's like all these things. It's like, okay, no, they're making sure that they're making that it's memorable for people for educational as well.
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah. I didn't know there was an asteroid named after her, so that was.
No, I didn't either.
Yeah. Yeah. Admittedly, if you'd asked me before this episode, do you remember who Rosa Parks is? I think I'd have been probably similar to Ryan. I probably would have gotten parts of it, but not necessarily.
Okay. No, I was definitely more familiar with it than that.
And I remember learning about it in school though. As soon as they started talking about it, I was like, oh yeah, I remember this. But
yeah.
Because I certainly one of the details that I definitely didn't remember was that it was the middle section, and she only had to move because like that was the sort of that was the influx section that changed depending on if it was full or not. That was
something that dawned on me like 15 minutes into the episode, because I was like, okay, I knew who she was going in, I knew all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I'd forgotten that she'd had to move, like get up, and then it dawned on me a little bit before it happened. Like they got to, I was like, oh yeah, that's what it was. But I do really like this episode.
No, it's good. Them having to interact with various characters. The waitress is one thing. There's the cop. The other, the heat that comes out of the room, and
yeah.
And what I liked as well. I liked how kind of underhandedly or backhandedly the Doctor and Graham would answer their questions, and in ways that kind of answered the questions, but was kind of defined.
It was like, oh, are you hiring? It's like everyone who's here has a right to be here, sort of thing.
Yeah. No one fits that description. Those kind of phrases, and that was cool.
Yeah, there was a really small touch at the end of that scene that got me a good chuckle. Obviously, they're pretending to be this couple, in the room.
He puts his hand on her shoulder.
And the look she gives him for just like half a second, like, what the hell are you doing? It's like she doesn't understand what this gesture is supposed to be.
Yeah. And it's completely innocent. He's just playing along with the little joke they've got going.
Just, like, making it, but it's not even that she's angry at him for doing it. It's like she just doesn't understand why he's doing it. Like, what is this supposed to be?
Which reminds me, you're not Banksy, or am I?
That was killing me.
Banksy doesn't have that technology, or do I?
It's things like this where by the end of the season, another season after this, I could say that she could be my favorite Doctor. It's
maybe.
those moments where I'm like, yeah, that's the character.
My favorite. I mean, taking away the serious stuff with her actually helping, like
Yeah.
on the bus and stuff. My favorite Doctor line by far is when they find the suitcase with all the technology in it, and she goes down to open it. It's like, we're going to open this, right? Can it be open? So that's a good question. She bends down to open it up, and Graham goes, "It could be a bomb." And she's like, "Don't kill the vibes, Graham." She sounded really annoyed.
Yeah, she's like, I hadn't thought about that. I don't want to think about that. I just want to open it.
No, no, this is easily the best episode of the three I think so far, and I'm all for them tackling more things like this.
Yeah.
It was good. So, no, there you go. Uplifting and hard hitting, where it needed to be.
Yeah, it was nice to be so positive, because obviously there's a danger that this could have been clunky or just didn't land properly, because they don't usually go all in on these topics. They kind of brush around them. They dress them up in a sci-fi way, like most sci-fi does.
I think it's refreshing that I mean, I feel like not all sci-fi does. It kind of depends, but this show in particular does tend to either dress it up or sidestep it.
Yeah, I'd say a lot of sci-fi traditionally, anyway, is analogous in this way.
Oh, sure, but like I feel like whenever this show does it, it's kind of almost. Like, this show will sidestep it when it could do it for real with the time travel, and then it'll do the analogy. Whereas there's other sci-fi where I don't really blame it for doing the analogy, because that's the point, is that the sci-fi is built to be the analogy. And that's just kind of... That's one of the benefits of sci-fi, is you get to do that.
It is. And I think that's what is lucky for Doctor Who is, in its concept, it can do both, right? It can do the mistreated aliens, or it can go, let's just go to the 50s.
Yeah. So no, really good. So more like this, please.
Yeah, I'm down for more of this.
It was very good. So, and they're still not back home, obviously. She basically can't quite work the TARDIS properly yet. So they're in. They're like, oh, we're getting closer. We're on Earth.
Just the 50s.
Yeah, we're about 60 years early, and it's just Alabama, but we're getting closer.
We're kind of here.
We're zeroing in.
I knew already. They mentioned all these extra trips. It took them 14 trips to get here. I can already right. Okay, we can get the comics and books set in those early trips already. They've done a nice time period for some stories.
That's your 13 books right there. Yeah. But I'm usually the grouchy one with Doctor Who, and yeah, the villain was kind of lame in terms of his acting and presence, but
the ideas were there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the mechanics that he gave to the episode for them to solve, the problems that he gave them to solve, and the uncomfortable side of like them having to sneak around, and Yaz and Ryan having to sneak in the window because they're not supposed to be in the motel, and just the general uncomfort of that gave it a bit of an edge as an episode, but it had like a good message, and it it's kind of uplifting by the end. So there you go. That is episode 3 of Doctor Who season 11. So by all means, let us know what you thought of this one in the comments below. Like and subscribe and all that stuff. Get us on the Twitters at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the channel and everything we do here, head over to patreon.com/mailedfuzztv, and you can do that over there. But otherwise, that is us. So thank you once again for watching or listening. Always appreciate it. Keep watching TV, guys. Have you got any vanilla?